The shadow of power. In the 20th century, few men shaped the world as profoundly or as brutally as Joseph Stalin. To some, he was the iron leader who transformed a backward empire into a superpower. To others, he was a mass murderer whose policies led to famine, terror, and the deaths of millions. His name became synonymous with fear, control, and absolute power. But before Stalin became the ruler of the Soviet Union, before the purges, the gulags, and the cult of personality, he was a poor boy from a forgotten corner of the Russian Empire. This is the story of Joseph Stalin, his rise, his rule, and the heavy legacy he left behind. A child from Gori, 1878 to 1994. Joseph Stalin was born Yosef Vissarionovich Djugashvili on December 18, 1878, in the small town of Gori in present-day Georgia. At the time, Georgia was part of the Russian Empire, poor, unstable, and deeply unequal. Stalin's childhood was marked by violence and hardship. His father, Vissarion Djugashvili, was an alcoholic shoemaker who regularly beat his wife and son. His mother, Ekaterina Geladze, was deeply religious and determined that her son would escape poverty. Stalin survived smallpox as a child, leaving his face permanently scarred. The illness and the ridicule that followed would shape his personality, making him secretive, suspicious, and emotionally guarded. Despite the chaos at home, Stalin showed intelligence and discipline. His mother enrolled him in a church school and later a theological seminary in Tiflis. It was here, in the halls of religious education, that Stalin's life took a dramatic turn. From seminary to revolutionary, 1894 to 1917. While studying to become a priest, Stalin secretly began reading forbidden political literature, including the writings of Karl Marx. The ideas of revolution, class struggle, and workers' power resonated deeply with him. In 1899, Stalin was expelled from the seminary, officially for missing exams, but widely believed to be for his growing revolutionary activities. He abandoned religion and fully embraced Marxism. By the early 1900s, Stalin had joined the Russian Social Democratic Labor Party, aligning himself with Vladimir Lenin's Bolshevik faction. Unlike other revolutionaries who debated theory, Stalin was practical and ruthless. He organized strikes, spread propaganda, and helped raise funds, often through bank robberies and criminal operations. He was arrested and exiled multiple times to Siberia, yet repeatedly escaped. It was during this period that he adopted the name Stalin, meaning man of steel. By the time revolution swept Russia in 1917, Stalin was no longer just a revolutionary. He was a hardened operator, ready for power. The Russian Revolution and Lenin's Shadow, 1917 to 1924. The Russian Revolution of 1917 overthrew the Tsar and plunged the country into chaos. The Bolsheviks, led by Lenin, seized power and promised a new socialist future. Stalin was not the most famous revolutionary, but he was useful. Lenin appointed him to key administrative roles, including People's Commissar for Nationalities. In 1922, Stalin became General Secretary of the Communist Party, a position initially seen as minor. But Stalin understood something others did not. Power did not come from speeches or ideology. It came from control over appointments, information, and loyalty. When Lenin fell ill, Stalin quietly built alliances, placed supporters in strategic positions, and isolated rivals. After Lenin's death in 1924, a bitter struggle for succession began. Stalin presented himself as Lenin's true heir, while systematically eliminating anyone who stood in his way. The Rise of a Dictator, 1924 to 1929. Stalin's main rivals included Leon Trotsky, Grigory Zinoviev, and Nikolai Bukharin, all powerful revolutionaries. One by one, Stalin outmaneuvered them. Trotsky was stripped of power, exiled, and eventually assassinated in Mexico in 1940 on Stalin's orders. By 1929, Stalin had consolidated absolute control over the Soviet Union. The revolution was over. A dictatorship had begun. Forced industrialization and collectivization, 1929 to 1933. Stalin believed the Soviet Union had to industrialize or be destroyed by foreign powers. He launched ambitious 5-year plans, forcing rapid industrial growth at enormous human cost. Factories rose overnight, cities expanded, but agriculture was forcibly reorganized into collective farms. Peasants who resisted were labeled kulaks, enemies of the state. Millions were deported, imprisoned, or executed. In Ukraine and other regions, collectivization led to a catastrophic famine known as the Holodomor. Between 3 and 7 million people starved to death. Stalin denied the famine existed. Grain continued to be exported while entire villages disappeared. The Great Purge, a nation in fear, 1936 to 1938. Paranoia defined Stalin's rule. Convinced that enemies were everywhere, he unleashed the Great Purge. Party members, military officers, intellectuals, artists, even loyal supporters were arrested. Show trials forced confessions through torture and threats. Executions were swift. Millions were sent to Gulag labor camps where many never returned. The Soviet Union became a society built on silence, fear, and obedience. Stalin was no longer just a leader. He was a godlike figure, worshipped through propaganda and censorship. World War II and the Test of Power, 1939 to 1945. In 1939, Stalin shocked the world by signing a non-aggression pact with Nazi Germany. 2 years later, Adolf Hitler betrayed the agreement and invaded the Soviet Union. The German invasion was catastrophic. Stalin's purges had weakened the Red Army, and millions died in the early months. But the Soviet Union endured. Through brutal resistance, mass mobilization, and immense sacrifice, the Red Army pushed back. The battles of Stalingrad and Berlin became symbols of Soviet resilience. By 1945, Stalin emerged as one of the world's most powerful leaders and a key architect of the post-war order. The Cold War and Final Years, 1945 to 1953. After the war, Stalin tightened his grip on Eastern Europe, creating a buffer of communist states. This expansion fueled the Cold War, dividing the world into opposing ideological camps. At home, repression continued. Even in his final years, Stalin planned new purges, but his health declined. On March 5, 1953, Joseph Stalin died, likely from a stroke, alone, feared, and deeply distrusted even by those closest to him. Legacy of Iron and Blood. Joseph Stalin transformed the Soviet Union into a global superpower. He also presided over one of the deadliest regimes in human history, responsible for the deaths of tens of millions. His legacy remains deeply divided, a symbol of strength to some, a warning of unchecked power to others. Stalin proved one terrifying truth, that revolutions can free nations, but absolute power can destroy humanity itself.